So this is a training module that has been provided for PAMP Restaurant Incorporated. So we'll be going through the training program design and the evaluation strategies used for a particular task for this restaurant. So when doing a training program and developing it, first you should start with a needs assessment, and a needs assessment usually is made up of 3 different phrases, but for this project we are skipping the organizational analysis and focusing on the person analysis and the task and KSAO analysis, or the knowledge, skills, and abilities that are needed to perform the given tasks. Following this, we will go into more of what went into developing the training program, including the training objectives, the learning and motivation theories behind why people want to learn and why they want to perform certain tasks, and the training program itself. And then finally, we'll be going through the evaluation of the training program, so how we can look at if the training program itself was successful and useful. So for PAMP, we will be conducting a needs assessment, particularly for creation of the brioche breads that are prepared in the kitchen and used in a number of their recipes. So the needs assessment focuses on the who, what, how, why of the training. So specifically, who are we training? It was determined that the prep cooks, kind of the lower on the hierarchy of the cooks within the restaurant, will be trained in this, as it is a basic thing, and part of their job is to prepare elements of the food for the other cooks to use. What needs to be trained specifically? So the making of the brioche dough, so it's ready for preparation. How tasks can be trained. This will be through a hands-on process. What KSOs do trainees need? And all of these questions come from an interview with a subject matter expert. So focusing on the different task processes, breaking down bit by bit what goes into the creation of a brioche dough. And then from there, you use the description of the work activities, including the different tasks that an employee performs, along with the knowledge, skills, and abilities that are believed to complete the task. So this combined identifies what the employees are actually doing and what they should be doing in order to do this successfully. So different facts of knowledge that we need for this area are specifically facts or procedures, so public health and safety rules that are used in a kitchen, how to use the equipment safely, the policies, procedures, and strategies in general that you need to be aware of when working in the food industry. Customer and personal service would be included under this, and then the different production methods involved. Going on from there, the skills, so the different competencies that you have in performing a task. Active listening, so taking time to understand others and specifically how to do this task. Speaking, being able to ask questions and convey information. Different coordination, so how you can adjust in a space based on others. A service orientation, so being able to help others. And then speaking, so how to convey the information, similar to mentioned above. So the abilities that are involved in this are manual dexterity, so you have to move your hands and arms together to add all these different ingredients and make sure that you have both manual and finger dexterity, so you can move your fingers to grasp or manipulate or assemble things. You need near vision to see details at a close range, oral comprehension skills to listen and understand spoken words, obviously the directions to how to do this, and use information ordering. So for this particular task, you have to arrange things in a certain order according to rules, or otherwise the task won't be completed well. So from there, I developed these different KSAOs and devised the certain tasks that you must do to complete the task successfully, and followed up with the SME to kind of verify that I was on the right track with what needed to be done. So for the training itself, first you're going to be developing training objectives. So everything you figure out in the needs analysis should be used to write the training objectives for the training program. And the objectives should be really concrete and specific. So you create these descriptions of exactly what needs to be done in order to be successful in task completion. And then in order to kind of learn more about this, focusing on learning and motivation theories. So there are obviously different styles of learning. I focused a little bit on social learning theory. So people learning from observing others, and then for this, the subject matter expert is credible and knowledgeable about the area. And so learning new skills and behaviors comes from kind of experiencing the skill or behavior and observing others and kind of seeing the consequences of the behavior. And then self-efficacy as well. So if the person does not believe that they're able to complete the task, they will be unsuccessful and they won't be able to learn the skill or behavior. And offering encouragement via verbal persuasion, and helping the trainee make connections between the tasks that they're learning and what they've already mastered to transfer into the new task, can kind of help them build success, like the confidence that comes with the successful past accomplishments. Also, attention, retention, motor reproduction, and motivational processes are believed to be an important component in kind of both of these for social learning theory. So the learner is identifying important aspects of the performance that they're witnessing in order to determine what they should be observing. They have to remember the skills they observed. And then they have to replicate this through their motor reproduction to the extent that they can recall the behavior and have the physical capabilities to perform the behavior themselves. And then finally, motivational processes are included in this. So behaviors are going to be reinforced positively when you increase the likelihood that the learner will continue the behaviors. So their motivation is increased by this. And then finally, put in the theory of adult learning. So adults need to know why they're learning something, and they should be self-directed, and they should be able to kind of bring their experiences into learning situations. So entering new experiences with a problem-centered approach to learning helps them be motivated. And then finally, in order to meet training objectives, trainees should practice the different things they learned in training, be kind of geared towards those specific training objectives, get evaluated based on performance, and then have a way to correct mistakes if they're wrong. So all of these together are important to consider when identifying the training objectives. And so for this, focusing on the different health standards to meet, as well as the successful completion of the brioche itself, were two components of the training objectives. And then for the training program itself, using all of this again, so the information from the needs analysis and then the objectives of what the goal of the training program is, can help determine the best approach for conducting the training session. So determining whether this should be a lecture, if it should be something that they do online. It kind of just connects back to the why of the training program. So what importance does it have to the trainees and the company, and kind of bringing this all together. It's important to help the retention and recall of the training content to keep sessions like 20 minutes in length, and take breaks and alternate learning techniques. So kind of switching it up for them so it doesn't become super mundane. So I came up with a series of steps that you can see in the report, but going through an overview of those kind of basic things, the timeline for the day, public health and safety standards through a video, and then meeting together to discuss why these things are important, to kind of reiterate that back to them, taking a break, and then specifically getting into the distribution of the handouts that describe the training process in itself. Being able to observe the SME completing the training, and then them themselves going through the training. So the supplemental materials that are associated with it are the video for the initial health and safety, and then the checklist, which they will have available to them even after training is completed, and they can use during training to follow their steps. So evaluation is the final step. So in order to determine if the training was successful for this, because it's not something that a lot of kind of investment is going into, or that is being compared to a different training program. It's just a simple training program for some basic tasks. We'll just be doing a post-test kind of design, as opposed to a couple different other methods, in order to assess if certain criteria were met. So did the trainees learn about the health and safety standards, and did they successfully create the brioche dough at the end? But following this, in order to kind of gauge how the trainees felt about the training, they will be given a survey, specifically looking at the opinions on the training program. So what they thought about the clarity of the program, how long it took, and what was involved in the program. And then it's important to assess the engagement. You want everybody to be kind of excited about the training. It should be something that's interesting, that they're obviously motivated to do. So assessing how engaged the trainees felt within the program is an important aspect of the follow-up, and considering their opinions. And then obviously leaving that open, we'll assess on other feedback that the trainee may have. That is all.